All right. Well, sorry about the wait, folks. Thanks so much for your patience. We're here for another Mandolin Mornings, and it's been too long. I missed hanging out with you guys. Hope everything's going well. Thanks for joining us this morning, and yeah, we'll just get right into it. It's been a busy few weeks here. I've been touring a bit more with Mile 12. We were up in Utah last week, which was really fun. It's my first time playing in Utah. Got to meet a few patrons over there, and had a really fun time just getting to play and listen to some live music as well. Sierra Hole was there, which was amazing. Also, the Barefoot Quails, or sorry, Crying Uncle, another band that the Barefoot Quails are in, was there, and Teo Quail, absolute mandolin monster, was there. Keep an eye out for Teo. He's going to be the next big thing on the mandolin, I think. And also, Mo Berkman was over there, which was amazing to see her play. She was incredible too. She's recently over on Mandolin Mondays. So yeah, it was a great hang, and got to pick some tunes. Let's see, before that, we've been kind of traveling all over the place. Was up in New England again for a show in Connecticut, and one in Plymouth, Mass, and then before that was over in like Wisconsin, I think. It's hard to even remember at this point. It's been kind of a busy month here, but yeah, things are kind of settling in a little bit more, and I'm excited to get back to these regular live streams with you guys. I hope you guys are doing well. Let me know in the comments here how things are going. You know, what's been going on for you guys. Let's see, we got some fun folks with us here. Bronwyn Sinclair from Australia. What's up, Bron? Thanks for joining us. Thanks for staying up late and making Mandolin Mornings a Mandolin Evenings event for you. And Baron Collins Hill, what's up, my friend? I hope things are well. I hope you're doing good, and hope you're picking some mandolin tunes and enjoying this 8-string wonder, man. Great to have you with us. Thanks for tuning in, man. And Francois, what's up, Francois? I hope things are well. Peter Barnett, an alternative to morning weeding. I'll drink to that here. I got some great coffee with me. Let's see. Rick Fannin says, congratulations to Mile 12 for making the Red Hat stage at IBMA. It's yeah, that's right. We're really excited to be at IBMA this month. I guess we'll be there at the end of the month or beginning of October. And for any of you folks hanging out in Raleigh or coming in for the convention, we'll be there. I think we're playing, I don't even remember, it's either Thursday or Friday. I think it must be Friday on the Red Hat stage. And we're pretty excited. You know, it's a big stage for us, but it'll be great just to share our music with you guys. And IBMA is just one of my favorite weeks of the year. If you guys have never been, you should definitely consider going. It might be a bit different this year, of course, with the crazy affairs going on around the world these days. But yeah, it should be fun nonetheless. And if you haven't been, definitely consider going. You know, not this year, next year, and take advantage of all the amazing music that happens out there for us mandolin players. There's so many great artists who come through, and so many amazing jams that happen. Usually there's a huge convention center kind of expo hall where you get to try out different mandolins, and there's so many cool things that happen there. So definitely worthwhile checking out. It's like the festival of all festivals for bluegrass music, and in turn for mandolin players. So yeah, thanks so much, Rick. We're really looking forward to that. Hopefully see you there. It's great to catch up in Asheville recently. Dan's tune, what is up, my friend? I'm so glad that you're here. It's gonna be fun getting to hang out. Let's see, what else? Paul Marshman, what's up, Paul? Well, awesome, they're tuning in from Toronto. That's so cool. That's amazing. Sunny Toronto. I bet it's beautiful up there right now. Finally starting to cool down here in Traveler's Rest. It has been quite the warm summer, and we're really looking forward to fall. I think we actually might go up to there's a cool state park nearby here that we haven't gotten to check out yet. It's called Paris Mountain, and we're gonna go up there. And the joke is that if we run out of things to do, we'll always have Paris. Like that quote from Casablanca, if I'm not mistaken, right? That's a great movie too. So we might go check out Paris Mountain this afternoon. And Traveler's Rest, man, it's just been a fun, awesome spot to be located in so far. We've taken advantage of beautiful farmers market down the road. There's a great trail down the road from us. We've been doing trail running for the past couple weeks here, which has been really fun, and letting our dog Finn just kind of run with us off leash. He absolutely loves it. He's kind of a handful when you put him on the leash, but then when you let him off and there's space for him to run around, he just follows you. He's always at your heel, always running to catch up with you. He's great. But he's a handful otherwise. No, he's awesome. And I'll probably take him out to Paris Mountain today as well. Craig Rask, it's so good to see Craig. Hope things are well. Don, What is up, Don? It's been a while. I hope you're doing well. Let's see here. Bronwyn says, what sort of picks does everyone prefer? I ordered a variety of V picks from Nashville 7 weeks ago. Still waiting. International Post isn't the best at the moment. I'm sorry. Yeah, that must be a bit of a hassle ordering from Australia. I've tried a few V picks. I can't say that I'm super familiar with their catalog because I know they have quite a wide range of variety as far as picks goes. I think I've tried maybe like some of their clear plastic ones, which I think the one I tried was actually like a huge thick pick. It was like maybe 4 times thicker than the usual thickness I use for a pick. And there's all sorts of great ones out there. Usually like I don't know what why we've decided this, but the general consensus on mandolin picks, usually you find people kind of sitting within like a 1.2, 1.3 millimeter range, all the way up to maybe like 2 points at the thickest. Obviously there's exceptions to that rule, but kind of in the middle, a lot of people settle on like 1.5 or 1.6 millimeter thickness. And for some reason, like we really love using these bigger picks too. Like I know most people I listen to use like triangle picks like this. I know like Sierra Hull uses one of these. I know Chris Thiele's been pretty famous for using triangle picks like this. Mike Marshall, and then the other offshooting branch on the pick shape is the rounded pick, which I don't have an example nearby, but a lot of people use like kind of thicker or more rounded picks that don't have quite as sharp points on the edges. Like David Gristman is famous for using that. John Reichman is another one we've been talking about on the Discord channel over on my Patreon page recently. That's been kind of a cool tangent. John Reichman has like a brand new signature pick that's coming out soon with Apollo Picks, which is another company that I've not actually gotten to try out too much, but I've heard a lot of good things about them. And it's a really cool custom rounded edge pick. It's very circular, which gives it a little bit of a darker tone, I think. But if you're looking for different ones, I did this kind of big pick comparison video a while back, which was a fun experiment, and we looked at a bunch of different similar picks in this triangle shape category. Kind of ranging from 1.3 to 1.6 millimeters, and very similar shapes. Most of them had bevels, and it's kind of cool just to hear how the different materials of the pick and kind of the different make of them can really, I don't know, they make subtle differences. Maybe you couldn't tell from that video, but I could tell from the player's perspective. And that's the best way to do it. It's just play with a bunch of different picks and see what you like. And the ones that I've been using recently, people always ask me about these because they're super colorful and they're fun. This is a Golden Gate Clown Barf pick. I think they call it like an X stiff or extra stiff model. And it is only 1.3 millimeters, a bit on the thin side. But it is, I guess, thick enough or stiff enough that it doesn't give quite as much when you play the pick through the strings, which is a big consideration when you're playing. And what I love about these is that they're super colorful, they sound good, and they're only $2. And I don't have any qualms with spending a lot of money on picks because it's really your main point of contact with the instrument. It's how you experience your sound or your instrument. So spending $50-$60 on a pick if you need to. There's nothing wrong with that. Like people spend thousands and thousands of dollars on a violin bow, and it's kind of a similar tool. It really creates the sound on the instrument and affects your experience playing it. So there's nothing wrong with spending a lot of money on a pick. But I love how these sound and feel for the same price, or for a cheaper price, I should say. And I've been really happy with these for the past coming on a year now. I've been using these actually. So check them out. You can get them on like Amazon or Banjo Bin. I think I really like them a lot. Let's see, Josh is saying he loved the pick comparison video. Thanks so much for checking that out, man. That was a lot of fun to put together. Let's see here. Bluebird123 saying, I prefer 1 millimeter large triangle picks. Good for busking and volume. Less likely to drop the pick and don't like the sound of thinner picks on the strings. Yeah. I think like the 1 millimeter is a good place to start too. For some reason, like the thinner picks like that, even on, I guess that's kind of technically a thicker pick if you're coming from the guitar world where people use like 0.5 or 0.6 or thinner sometimes. But usually I like a little bit thicker than 1 millimeter just because I don't really like the flick that you get, or the kind of the snap that you get of the pick whenever it bends with the strings as you're moving through it. It kind of gets a little bit more of the pick sound, a little bit more of the metallic sound. And that's the cool thing though, is that like depending on how you play with that pick or depending on the instrument that you're using, it all changes these equations too. So when I've tried a 1mm pick on this mandolin, it didn't sound quite as dark as I wanted it to. Sound really bright, which might be really good for like playing Irish music or for busking, you know, like you're saying, it gets a little bit of a brighter tone to cut through. And then when I try like these thicker picks, it really brings out a darker tone on my mandolin, which I really like. So that's the way to do it. Just like experiment, see what's best for the situations that you find yourself in. And having an arsenal of picks to choose from isn't necessarily bad, but I'd recommend like maybe sticking with the pick for a while, like a week or so, and seeing what it does for you. And as you get used to it and as the pick breaks into your playing, you kind of get a better, fuller experience of what that pick is like. So that's so cool. Best wishes to all of us on our pick journey here. I think that's like one of the funnest things on the mandolin. And don't let anyone tell you one thing's better than another too. Like that's another thing I try to be careful about, because there's so many different ways of playing the mandolin, and not necessarily one's right or one's wrong. There might be picks that are better suited for a certain style or for a certain sound, or if you're trying to sound like a certain player, a good thing to do is just to copy what pick choice that they're using and see what that does for you. And then from there you can kind of figure out, okay, I like this or I don't like this, or I want something just a little bit different, and you can experiment from there. But that's the fun part. It's like a hero's journey, like I said in that video for the pick comparisons. And Paul's asking, are there any picks that are easier to play with? That's a good question. Like as far as like starting out, I find that the hard part about the flat pick is just keeping it situated in your fingers without it sliding around or without accidentally dropping it. When I first started playing mandolin, I couldn't hold on to any flat pick. I didn't know any better, but I basically had to play with thumb picks for a while, because I didn't know how to keep the mandolin pick situated in my fingers without it slipping around. And basically I played with, I think it was like called the Herco picks or something like that. They're really thin, floppy, kind of teardrop shaped picks with a thumb loop. And that's what I used for a long time. And then all those Herco picks ended up breaking because they were so thin. And I think I just one day didn't have any more thumb picks to use, and so I thought, okay, I better start playing with a flat pick. And that was my kind of incentive to finally figure out how to use these flat picks without the thumb loops. So that could be an option. You know, if you're really struggling, you can find a thumb pick, but I think it's good to graduate beyond that at some point, because there's some benefits to using a flat pick. There's some benefits to using a thicker, bigger pick, which I don't know of too many thumb picks that are this shape, the big triangles, or too many thumb picks that are this thick in this shape. Like you might be able to find like a banjo thumb pick, but it's very narrow and doesn't have the same sound. So by having a larger surface area and having a thicker pick, you're actually going to get a better tone out of the instrument. And those are the main reasons why we use these picks. I think it's all about kind of the tone and the sound that we're looking for, and the control over that sound. So, you know, eventually once you move past that thumb pick, you're trying to get that really dark, even tone. And the pick has a huge, it has a lot of implications for that tone. So as far as an easier pick to play with, if you play with a thinner pick, I think it's a little bit easier to hold on to at the beginning, but it doesn't have quite the sound that you're looking for usually. And then beyond that, like maybe like a teardrop pick or a thinner, smaller pick, like one of those jazz guitar picks that are a little bit easier to hold on to, might be easier to start with too, but they probably won't give you the sound that you're looking for as well. You know, what most people are looking for on the mandolin. But I'd experiment with those. Maybe try a thumb pick first, try like a teardrop shaped pick that people use on guitar, and then maybe you can try one of those smaller jazz picks as well, those jazz guitar picks. Those might be a little bit easier to hold on to at first. But honestly, like if you know what sound you're after, I don't know if there's any reason to beat around the bush and to settle for less, if that makes sense. Like if you know this pick is going to sound really good on your mandolin, or if you know Sarah Holt plays with this particular pick or whatever pick that she uses, why not like just start there, get used to it, and then if it never feels comfortable after like a month of playing on that pick, or you never like the sound after a month, then maybe try something different and then go on from there like that. I feel like that's a really good method. It's like try to sit with a pick or live with a pick for a while, and I think we end up adapting. And like, you know, practice does make a big difference, and if you have regular point of contact with whatever piece of equipment you're trying to use, you're gonna start to know the ins and outs of it a lot better, and you're gonna get that sound faster than if you settle for something less, I should say. But that's just my 2 bits. Again, don't let anyone tell you what pick to play with or anything like that. I think it's just all personal preference here. But let's see. We've got some other questions here. Sorry, I skipped over a few. I love the conversation. It's so good to catch up with you guys. It's been way too long. We said, okay, yeah. Sorry, way back up. This is great. Let's see. Jacob Kildew. It's so good to see you, Jacob. Thanks for coming. Jacob says, hey, David, in your interview with John Reichman, John referenced a David Grisman quote to the effect, Mando players have a responsibility to write tunes. What are your thoughts on that idea? Yeah, that's a great quote. I love that. I'm so glad John brought that up. By the way, if any of you haven't seen it, we have a few new videos over on the YouTube channel here and over on my Patreon page. That's kind of tandem with that. I did a couple videos with the great John Reichman recently. He's one of my favorite mandolin players and just such a great guy to hang out with. And one of the videos was a duet performance of his new tune, Dandy Longlegs, from his brand new record, which is amazing. New acoustic and, New Time and Old Acoustic, I should say, is the name of the record. And that was really fun. But then the other video was an interview video where I just got to have a conversation with John about a lot of different things. We ended up talking about composition a lot because John is one of the kind of the premier composers on the mandolin of our generation, and written some amazing tunes like Salt Spring or Little Pine Siskin and several others that have made it into the bluegrass and mandolin jam repertoire, which is a big feat. For a modern tune to kind of be up there with old Joe Clark or whatever tunes that we end up playing in the jam. But yeah, we ended up talking about kind of the role of composition on the mandolin for a mandolin player, and that quote from David came up, which is, I think, a really effective quote. It's very telling. And I think I've heard David Grisman, he was out in the Bay Area when he was first learning, and I've heard kind of a similar story from him about how he realized that to be a professional mandolin player, he wasn't really going to have a whole lot of opportunities just to be a hired gun for a gig or have people, ask him to play shows on the mandolin as a side person. So he figured the best way to have job security and to have opportunities is to be a band leader. And I think that, that quote about compositions is tandem with that too. If you want to be a band leader, the best way to have a successful band is probably to write, original music. You can only go so far playing covers, I guess. So I think that's where that's coming from, like that idea of the responsibility of a mandolin player to write tunes. And it's probably more from a professional perspective too. Like if you want to play mandolin professionally, it's probably important to write original music. Like all those people we've been talking about so far on the mandolin, like the names you think of when you think mandolin, like Chris Thiele, John Reichman, Zero Hull, all these folks, they write their own music, and that's a big thing. I often overlook when I think about what makes an artist. It's originality, it's creativity. It's not just how good they play. And there's so many like amazing technicians out there on the mandolin that maybe we know about just because we listen to their facility and how amazing they are on the mandolin, but they don't really transcend to that artist level like some of those other names we mentioned do. So I think that's a huge thing. It's like if you're looking for a recipe, so to speak, as to how to make a profession as a mandolin player, composition is going to be a huge part of that. So that might be a little bit of a disclaimer to what David was saying, but I do think there's some validity. Like even if you're just playing mandolin for fun and you want to get better just for fun and you want to express yourself musically on the mandolin just for fun, there's definitely a lot of opportunities to increase your enjoyment on the mandolin through composition. And like some of the benefits that I think on the mandolin for composing, or let me rephrase it. I think there are some of the benefits that you get from composing on the mandolin would include like better facility, right? Like if you compose a tune in the key of B flat and you're not very comfortable in the key of B flat, you're going to learn a lot more about that key center on our instrument than you would have otherwise. That's a huge thing. I do that a lot. Like I'll try to write a tune in a weird key and I end up getting something out of it beyond just the composition. Also, I think there's just like a lot of satisfaction that you get from writing a tune and then like stepping back and having something to show for your time, right? That's something that I really find frustrating about music, is that whenever I do something different, like even if I mow the lawn, that's something I've been getting back into now that we own this house. It's like cutting the grass is a huge hassle, and it takes like a couple hours for me to do it here because the yard's pretty big. And we just have one of those push lawn mowers, and it takes a lot of sweat and a lot of intentionality to do it. But afterwards, there's this satisfaction that you can look back at your finished work. You see all the straight lines in the grass, and you see all the the straight edges and the trimming that you did around the edges. Like that brings me a lot of joy, and I don't know exactly why that is. I think there's something to be said about that, like some deeper meaning or purpose that we have in life through work and being created to do something. But in a musical sense, I don't get that satisfaction quite as much because you're always stuck in the present moment. Like if you learn how to play Whiskey Before Breakfast, that doesn't automatically mean that you have something that you can look back on and be satisfied with. Because I think our experience with music is so fluid, right? If you learn Whiskey Before Breakfast, there's nothing to say like 2 weeks later you might forget it and you might have to relearn it again. Or maybe you worked Whiskey Before Breakfast up to 120 beats per minute at one point, and then maybe a couple weeks later you can only play it at 100 beats per minute. There's this fluidity with your experience in music that can be amazing, but also can be pretty frustrating. But composition is one of those real solid end products that we have in music, where if you write a fiddle tune, a 2-part fiddle tune in the key of D, and you write it out or you record it, now you have this product at the end that allows you to look back on your progress and be satisfied or get some type of joy from it. So that's, for me as a creator and just as a human being, that's like a huge a huge incentive or a huge thing that I really enjoy about music. And if I didn't compose, I feel like I wouldn't have that sense of completion or that sense of objectivity about my progress that I don't get in other ways. So very very high talk that we're doing here. I know it's like we're just talking about mandolin, but there's like a lot of kind of human implications to it as well. So that would be just two benefits out of many benefits that you can get from composing. Also, just like there's nothing cooler than writing a bunch of original tunes and recording them with other people too. Like seeing how once you've written a tune and you see it being played in the hands of other people, that's like one of the most gratifying things in music as well. It's like not just playing Whiskey Before Breakfast together at the jam. All of a sudden you're playing like a Jacob original tune, and you're seeing how other people have kind of crawled inside your brain and seen what you've come up with and are taking it to new places through their own variations and improvisations. That was like a huge thing in the studio, recording a couple of my original albums. I remember like the first record I recorded, like in between takes, Ross Martin just walking down the hallway to get a cup of coffee, just humming like one of my original tunes. I was like, whoa, that's so trippy. Like, how is this even possible? An amazing musician like him somehow like grabbing a hold of what I've come up with on my own time and turning into something beautiful. So yeah, all sorts of implications. That would be kind of like the other side of it. It's not necessarily a professional thing. Just looking at it from your own enjoyment. It's not about career. It's about like what you find satisfaction out of on the mandolin and how you want to progress. I think that's a huge aspect of composition that often gets overlooked. So I'm getting real deep in it, but hopefully that answers your question, Jacob. Really great question. Thanks for being here. So there's been some other great conversations here I want to catch up with, and then we'll get to playing some tunes, I promise, before too long. Let's see here. Christopher Flake's asking, when will the Foreign Landers put out some new tunes? That's a really good question. We were actually practicing yesterday, and we got like maybe 3 or 4 tunes in the works that we're trying to flesh out a bit more, and then we'd love to put out a new record sometime in the next few months if we can scrounge up the material and get it all ready. And yeah, I think that's definitely in the near future. So be on the lookout for stuff from the Foreign Landers soon. Now that we kind of have a home base here in Travelers Rest too, we've put out a bunch of feelers for gigs in the Carolinas and even in Georgia, Tennessee, and Virginia. So this is kind of like our corner of the country at the minute, and we'll be kind of working our way out from there. But we'd love to see some of you guys out on the road for some live shows sometime soon. Let's see. Bluebird 123 saying, on second thought, I believe my picks are triangular Fender heavy. Nice 1mm. Yeah, definitely could play bass with these. Let's see. Baron's saying grainy tone, wouldn't recommend. Yeah, I don't know. Like depending on those Fender heavies, like they have a bit of a textured feel to them. In some ways, it kind of reminds me of like the Wiegand tone or the Wiegand picks, and I guess you maybe get a little bit different tone out of the Weekends, but yeah, I don't know. Experimentation is king, so I'd say like get a Wiegand pick, compare it to the Fender Heavy, get a blue chip pick compared to the Heavy, and then get something different, like get a clown barf pick. Or Baron was saying the blue Hercos are great for pedal steel. Nice. Wonder what they would sound like on mandolin. That would be kind of fun too. Baron saying I was up late picking recently and pulled out a pick out of my pocket only to find I was playing with a bread bag clip. That's amazing, man. Wow, that's incredible. Whatever works, man. I've played with quarters before, and man, talk about fat tone. Like just a huge hunk of metal hitting the strings. I have seen some metal picks made for the mandolin as well. Hey, different topic, but I just saw this on my desk, and I have to share it with you guys. Speaking of gear, have you guys ever seen the Shark Capo before? This is a necessary piece of equipment for any mandolin player, I should say. Isn't that amazing? This is a gift from the amazing Jeff Bartley, who runs the weekly Cantab Lounge Jam over in Cambridge, Massachusetts, which I hear is actually coming back. The Cantab was maybe on the rocks for a bit, but it looks like it's under new management now, and they might be bringing Bluegrass Tuesdays back, so I'm so happy. But yeah, capos is another interesting conversation. We won't get too deep into it now, but yeah, I think it's an interesting piece of gear here. But enough gear talk. Well, how about we come over to some mandolin tunes and get to pick some together here. So let's see. We just released a new video over on the YouTube channel. I've been going through some beginner lessons recently, and I've really enjoyed teaching this one, Hop High or Lulu Gal. I don't know if you guys know this one. I first heard this from a Crooked Still record, and it's a really interesting kind of modal tune. And we talked about in that recent video. I think it's like part 12 or part 13. I forget of our new beginner series. It was an interesting topic to dive into. Something I hadn't thought about a whole lot before. There's the idea of playing a tune in a major key or a minor key, right? That's something you guys are all familiar with, I'm sure. And then there's also the idea of playing within a certain mode, right? Some people say, okay, like this tune's in the key of A Dorian, or this tune's in the key of G Mixolydian, like maybe Wheelhouse is, like. But some people just say like some people just say instead of a certain mode or a certain key that this tune is modal, kind of like a broad general term. And definitely the lingo or the terminology can differ from jam to jam or player to player. But I think what usually people are saying in a modal tune is that you're kind of hopping back and forth between some of those different sounds, like major, minor, Dorian, Mixolydian, all sorts of stuff like this. This is one of those tunes where we're kind of in the key of D major, right? You see we have like D major chords at the beginning and end of the song, the D major key signature in our standard notation, but then we have some accidentals that you see, right? We have a C natural, which is interesting. Usually we have a C sharp in the key of D, or we also have an F natural, which is different, right? It's not usually in the key of D major, which has an F sharp. But we also have like a toggle between the F natural and the F sharp, which is kind of different too. Maybe some people think about it as a bluesy sound. That's another term people use. So lots of confusing terms going on, but I think the term modal basically alludes to the fact that you're combining those different sounds together. You're kind of combining major sounds and minor sounds together. Here we're actually combining like the major scale, the Mixolydian mode, the Dorian mode, and I think that might be about it. Like all those three things together you could almost think about. But an easy thing to do is just learn the melody, kind of learn some of the tricks that we're using here, and then use them to your advantage whenever you're taking a solo, right? So if you never played this tune before, it also has words, but we're just going to play it as an instrumental tune, which is pretty fun. So this one is kind of like a two-part fiddle tune. A and B, both with repeats, and the chords are super easy, right? If you don't know these, here they are right now. You can just use your open chords, like your D major chord, your A major chord. You can use your G major chord, back to D at the end. Or if you want to, you can use those chop shapes, whatever suits your fancy. And you can check out the video if you want to learn the tune more in depth. And you can grab the transcription for this tune and the PDF handbook that we have for this series over on the Patreon page. So feel free to pull that up if you want to follow along or just read here on screen. But let's just try playing through this thing and see what it sounds like. So maybe we'll take it slow to start out with, like maybe about that tempo. Here we go. Here's the A section. B section. Repeat. All right, here we go. So we have the A section again. Repeat of the A section. To the B section. All right, let me take a go here. Here we go again. Repeat. B section now. All right, I'm gonna take another go. Here we go again. let's try this melody together if you're up for it. Here we go. Nice work, folks. Hop high. Let's see, Braun said that's a lovely scene. Oh, I'm so glad you're enjoying it. It's one of my favorites that doesn't really get called too much. So I snuck it into that beginner series. I hope you guys have been enjoying going through those videos and checking out some of those tunes. And hey, speaking of which, let's see if I've got this handy. Maybe we could check out another tune that we just looked at recently. If I have this pulled up, yeah, this is the other tune that we checked out on that recent modal lesson. This is another fun tune in kind of a modal key. Apologies for the brooding picture there. You have to look at me twice on the screen here. I was just filling up some extra space in that book with some press shots I got recently. But yeah, this is another modal tune that might be kind of fun to play. This one's a bit shorter, but similar idea. Now we're in the key of A modal, you might could think about. We're mixing together kind of the A major scale, the A Mixolydian mode, the Dorian mode, the A Dorian mode, and then kind of mixing them all together to get this modal sound. I love that ambiguity. It's like not one thing in particular. There's a lot of different things going on that make the song more complex. Even though this is a really simple tune, people think it's maybe less of a I don't know, an academic thing because it was made by people in the mountains here in the Appalachians. but yeah, it's an amazing tune. I love this one. Have you guys heard the Alison Krauss Union Station version of this tune too? That's like another fun one. They changed it up a little bit, and maybe we could kind of take a note from them because they do this thing whenever they're trading solos on the tune. Some people might think about this as more of an old time tune, but they took it to more of a bluegrass level, or kind of change things up in a bluegrass style. And one thing that they do is they take turns doing 2 times through the form each. So each player will take A, B, B, and then they'll go back to the beginning of the piece again and do another A, B, B to fill it out to kind of the full length of a normal fiddle tune. So if you think about it, here we only have like 8 measures of music, and then we have repeats, so it's 16 measures of music. But normally a normal tune like Hop High, for instance, has 16 measures of music with repeats to make 32 bars. So we're getting real mathematical here. So instead of playing 16 bars for Cluck Old Hen, if you repeat the whole form, you get 32 bars. So it fills out to be the exact same amount of time. But why don't we try that out and see if we can maybe play through this tune as well. Similar chords here. We have A, we have D. The only other weird one that we have is this E chord, which I like to play like this, where it's 4, 2, 2, open. Another variation you can do is 1, 2, 2, open. Either way, both of those chords work great. Or chop chords as well. Then you have A, D, then we also have G back here for the B section. And this is a pretty common tune. Feel free to play whatever version of the tune that you know. I think the same this form will work if you know the Alison Krauss version too. Feel free to play that version of the melody over the chords. Adam Steffi takes some pretty cool solos on that one. So let's see. Maybe we could play this one kind of a similar tempo. That was a nice tempo, like a. Here we go. B section. Repeat. Your go. B section now. All right, again, so A section. All right, my go. Here we go. Here we go. My turn again. Here we go again. All right, let's play this together. Nice work, folks. Pluck old hen. Really nice job. Let's catch up. How are you guys doing over here? Oh, right, yeah. Let's see, Don Greaser saying Reichman and the Jaybirds do a vocal version of Hop High as well. That's an awesome recording. I know that one well. Yeah, if you guys don't know the Jaybirds catalog, I think they recently uploaded all of their recordings up on Bandcamp, which is cool because I didn't want to say like the first one or two of their records were actually out of print for a while and you couldn't find them online anywhere. So yeah, really fun. The first album I think came out in 2000 or 2001, I believe. And yeah, it was actually the first record to have that tune Salt Spring on there. It's the first track on that album. And that tune has become infamous in jam circles. And they made a video, I think it was like on the coast of Salt Spring Island, something like that, which is just maybe one of the most popular Mandolin videos online to this day. And the record's kind of become a bit of a, I don't know, it's become a bit of a rare item. So it's really cool that recording is resurfaced. And then now with the new version of Salt Spring out too, it's fun to hear both of them. So thanks for reminding me of that, Don. That's so cool. Oh yeah, Mike is saying so excited and happy for the can tab. I know, right? That's a big deal. Like the can tab was kind of it's almost like the academy of the Northwest or Northeast bluegrass scene, I should say. Apologies, you can hear Finn in the background. He's so excited about the can tab. I just had to let out a howl there. But yeah, there's been so many great bands that have kind of come out of that scene and played gigs at the Cantab. It's like some of their first gigs, like the infamous String Dusters, I've heard, kind of did that. Also Crooked Still, Della Mae, the Lonely Heartstring Band, several others as well. And that's where kind of Mile 12 got, started as well. So it's a huge part of our story as a band. I'm really happy that it's coming back too, because it was really sad, like with all the stuff going on around the world. And then to hear that the Cantab was shutting down and that, the bluegrass scene was suffering a huge blow up there as well was, kind of a lot to handle. But anyways, yeah, that's a great spot. I hope you guys get to visit sometime if you're ever passing through, or the local folks up there will get to, go back to that amazing jam there. Let's see here. Bluebird123 took a week-long group lesson from PSGW with John Reichman. First question he asked the group was to see their picks. And then he talked about the picks he used. That's very cool. Yeah, John's an amazing technician. Really excited about that new pick that he's got from Apollo Picks. I'll have to try that out. Although I'm curious, I guess it's like a left-handed bevel, since he has that really crazy ratcheted thumb, like the double-jointed thumb that makes the pick go kind of the opposite way that most people's picks are angled. It's a lot of words to say. And I guess the left-handed bevel makes it so that you're using the forward edge of the pick on your upstrokes and the back edge on the downstrokes. But I hope they'll make it in right-handed variations too, or left-handed. Wait, I'm getting all confused here. So he has the left-handed bevel. Then most people use the right-handed bevel, where they're kind of angling the pick downwards into the strings to use the front edge on the downstrokes, the back edge on the upstrokes. So I hope they make the right-handed bevel variation, I should say, so I can try it out. So Mike is saying, what are some other rare records that should be listened to? That's a really good question. Yeah. There's I don't know if the rarity is hard to come by these days, just because everything's so prevalent on the internet now. You can pretty much find like anything that you're interested in, and there's not like a huge paywall behind a lot of the stuff, which is amazing too. So there's a really cool YouTube channel. I think it's called Take's Bluegrass Channel, and basically Take uploads a bunch of live recordings and performances of bluegrass artists from years and years past. And I believe he has this one, maybe another channel, I don't remember, but there's a really cool live recording of the Bluegrass All-Stars live at the Birchmere in Virginia. And it was like a show that happened on, where was it? It was in Virginia, obviously, but I forget when it was, like in the 1990s, early 90s, I think, or maybe the late 80s. And it was basically, the Telluride house band. It was Bela Fleck, Sam Bush, Stuart Duncan, I think Edgar Meyer. Or no, it was Mark Schatz. I apologize. Mark Schatz on the bass. And Jerry Douglas, Tony Rice. Amazing group of folks. And they'd just gotten off the session for the Drive records. That amazing Bela Fleck record that came out in the early 90s as well. It's cool. They're playing some of those tunes. They're also playing just a bunch of bluegrass standards, and they're just going for it. And they're actually some of them have some pretty glaring mistakes in them, which is fun. It's like they're really just having fun and not really worried about too much. It's fun to hear that live, energy that's going on through that recording. So that would be one I'd recommend, live at the Birchmere. There's also another really rare live recording that I don't know exactly how to find. It's like somewhere online you can find a live audio recording of Chris Thiele and David Greer at the Prism Coffee House. And that was another, I guess it was probably 2000s recording. But it's just the two of them, which is cool. Like I don't know of any other recordings that it's just David Greer and Chris Thiele. And those two folks are absolute monsters, and they feed off each other like I've never heard before on that recording. And it's like interesting. I think they're just playing a pickup gig. They're just doing fiddle tunes pretty much. I don't know if they were playing any other shows together, but they're just doing like, Big Scioto or Temperance Reel and Angeline the Baker, and then they'll play like what is that? What is that tune? I'm drawing a blank. Like some of the famous swing tunes out there, like All of Me maybe, and that other one that's so popular amongst bluegrassers. They're just doing classics is the thing, and it's so fun to hear them play in a really familiar setting like that. They're playing some tunes that we all know, and there's so many cool ideas that you can steal from them. And the concert, I think it was only supposed to be a couple hours long, but it ended up being like close to 4 hours just because they were having so much fun, really going for it. And I think it's a 2 installment recording that you can find on some like live recording websites out there. If you just Google David Greer, Chris Thiele live at the Prism Coffee House in Charlottesville, Virginia, then I think that'll pop up. Baron knows that Thiele Greer show is epic. You're so right, man. I'm sure Baron has some other recommendations for some rare recordings out there too. I'm trying to think of some other ones that I know of. There's maybe just like some underappreciated mandolin recordings out there that I think are great. Like one of my favorites is by banjo player Russ Carson, and there's a record called Last Chance that he made back a few years ago, and it's everywhere online. You can find it on Spotify. But Dominic Leslie is playing mandolin, and they're just playing straight ahead grass tunes again. Like I love those recordings where you just hear amazing players who are probably more known for their original material, but they get to play standards, or they get to play tunes that we all know, and you get to kind of see how they approach the catalog in a cool way. So Dominic's playing like tunes like Squirrel Hunters and Methodist Preacher and Shenandoah Breakdown and a few other kind of classic bluegrass tunes, and has some really cool ideas that sound kind of wacky but also fit really well. You can tell like Dominic's got like this amazing kind of balance between traditional vocabulary and progressive vocabulary. He mixes it together really, really well. Those are the ones that are coming to mind here. Feel free to chime in, Baron, if you have any other ones. But yeah, I'd recommend those 3. And I'm thinking about maybe doing a video at some point. That'd be fun to like go down like a top 10 list of my favorite mandolin records, or just kind of maybe some rare mandolin records out there that are overlooked and underappreciated, because that would be a really fun thing just to kind of share the love and get to talk about other people's playing. And there's so much to be learned just by listening to different stuff like that. I think that's a huge part of our experience on the mandolin. Let's see. Well, how about we pick another tune together here? What's a tune that we've not played recently here? Going through, I've got a huge file on Livestream tunes here. If you guys have any requests for tunes that we looked at on the YouTube channel or over on Patreon, let me know. We can probably pull that up here. How about we do... speaking of Squirrel Hunters, maybe we could come over to that tune and see how that one's sitting with us these days. Let's check this one out. Yeah, so Squirrel Hunters, did a video on this one kind of earlier in the year, and it's become one of my more popular videos, so I'm excited people are enjoying this one. This is like one of my favorite tunes, and it's become quite popular in recent years, so it's a good one to know and fun one to jam on. We're just playing this one recently over in Utah this past weekend with those amazing folks with Crying Uncle. That was so much fun. This is another kind of modal sounding tune, but I don't know, this one doesn't really flop back and forth between different modes quite as much. It's mostly just in, you could think about it like A mixolydian, I guess. So we have a C sharp, and we also have a G natural in there. That's why the key signature, if you look at it, it can be confusing. People write this out different ways, but for A mixolydian, sometimes you'll see like the D major key signature, which has 2 sharps instead of the normal 3 sharps that you have for A major. And basically that's letting us know, okay, instead of a G sharp, we're playing a G natural, which is why it's A mixolydian instead of A major. But I know that's all so confusing. If none of that makes sense, don't worry about it too much. Just think about A major with the G natural and the key signature. And the 2-part tune is pretty easy because the chords are the same from one part to the next, right? We just have A, G, and D, the same chords we've been using for all these other tunes, right? And then the melody is kind of fun too. I love how it's got some repetition from the A to the B, but some variation as well. But you guys probably know this one. Why don't we check this one out together? Maybe a tiny bit faster, maybe like here we go. Here we go. All right, let me take another spin. Go. My turn. Turn again. Let's play this together. work, folks. Squirrel Hunters. Oh, man, it's so fun playing with you guys here. I wish we could all hear each other, but I know you guys are sounding amazing, and it's just good to have that, I don't know, the space and the focus to be able to play with other folks, and even in a virtual way. So thank you guys for picking along with me here. Let's see how you guys are doing. Let's see, Baron's got some suggestions for some rare recordings here. There's a cool John Hartford Chris Thiele live recording from a festival. Oh, that's awesome. Not sure where to find it. We'll have to look that up because that would be an awesome collaboration. And Homer the Roamer is a fantastic tune, one of my favorites as well. Baron, thank you guys. Man, thank you so much for tuning in. It's so fun to get to hang with you. I didn't even mention it, but I assume you all know Baron's got an amazing YouTube channel, Mando Lessons, and amazing website, mandolessons.com, and incredible video lessons, transcriptions, and just an amazing teacher. So check out all of his stuff. I believe Baron's got a live stream coming up soon as well, so maybe later today. So tune in for that as well. Oh, cool. Was there a video of Mile 12 and Crying Uncle? I didn't even see that. I'll have to check that out. We got them up on stage at this this festival in Utah this past weekend, and I just had fun. You know, such a blast jamming with them. They're incredible musicians. Like I said, keep an eye on Teo and Miles. They're both going to be kind of like the next big thing, I think, in bluegrass. We'll see. Hopefully they'll stick with it here. And but yeah, there's so many amazing other musicians out there too. It's just so fun to get out there and play some live music again. But I think that about wraps up our time for today. I really appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll be doing more live streams like this in the future. Getting back to a regular schedule soon. I'll be out next week. We'll be on the road again with Mile 12 to, let's see, where will it be? It's like Winfield, Kansas, for the Walnut Valley Family Festival, I believe. If any of you guys are going to be there, let me know. It'll be so fun to meet up and get to pick some tunes. I'm excited just to see the mandolin contest out there too, the National Mandolin Contest. Never been before, and it'll just be fun to hear all the different contestants. Won't be competing this year. That stuff is scary. I don't know if I'd do very well at a contest like that, but I'm just excited to get to play some music there, get to see folks. So let me know if you're going to be at some of our shows. It'll be so fun to meet up. And then we'll be back for our live stream. Not this next week since we'll be in Kansas, but the following week. We'll be back here on YouTube for some more tunes, some more hanging out, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So thank you guys for making this so special. We'll keep you posted. We'll be on the lookout for more videos soon. I've got another one for our beginner series coming up in the next couple days here. We'll be looking at some waltzes, which is really fun, and a couple more in that series to come yet as well. So stay tuned. Be sure to subscribe. Join us over on Patreon if you'd like the transcriptions for any of those tunes that we looked at today, and a lot more stuff over there too. Thank you guys so much for your support too. All you patrons who are already on the page and who are tuning in today, you guys are incredible. So kudos. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much. Keep up the good work, and happy picking.